Testing. There we go. Hello everyone and welcome back to ESRL. We're here for round number 8 of this 12-round season. It is season 8 of Division 1 of the league. And we're here in Qatar today. Very, very high pace and high skill circuit. And I think I would predict we're going to have quite a big gap between the front runners and the midfield on this circuit, more so than usual, especially with the likes of Luca Rapassa, Lewis Jones, Stephen Vasso and Finley in the lobby. But let's ride on board with J. Cole as he takes us around a lap of Qatar, down towards turn 1, down to 5th gear, no 4th gear actually for J. Cole through turn 1, a little wide of the apex as he heads through. Now turn 2. It can be difficult to get right turn 2. It can be easy to go deep at the corner without realising it. Now this double right-hander, also very tricky to get right, but J. Cole's done very nicely there as he heads towards the hairpin, slowest corner on the circuit, this one, as J. Cole comes through. Now then, long right-hander to come, deals with it fairly nicely, but perhaps could have carried a bit more speed through there as he heads now to the last corner of Sector 2, another difficult one to get right. You've got to get down the gears, hit the apex and use all the track on the exit without spinning, but J. Cole doing it nicely. Now the triple right-hander flat through all 3 of these. It should be in qualifying. This one you might want to lift for in the race. Does he go flat through this left-hander as well? No, a tiny lift from J. Cole, but essentially flat as he heads towards the final corner now, down the gears into 4th, hitting the apex. You'll see the fastest drivers cut straight across the apex there, and J. Cole, DRS open, comes to the line with a 21.472 to start us off. It's going to be Chalder who goes 74 thousandths of a second slower as he heads across the line. Eisenborg next up, goes quite a way behind. What about the other Ferrari of Lou Simeon's next? He has invalidated his attempt, unfortunately. Mahmoud 4th on the mediums, of course. As a few more cars coming across to start their laps. What about Lewis Jones? He's invalidated. What about his teammate for today, Vasso? Also invalidated. So both of them extremely fast drivers. Keep an eye on what they do today. They will definitely be in the conversation for pole, since Rapassa can't be asked to qualify, and he'd rather humiliate everyone by starting from the back and winning anyway. Johnny Stokes goes to P3. Scott a couple of tenths behind him. With the Red Bulls coming across the line. That is Speed Alcoholic who just come across. I think he must have invalidated, or he's starting his lap. No, it's an invalidation, I think. He's not got a lot of ERS left. Jack Alako coming through, but Reshka's going to be next across the line. He's invalidated as well. You're going to see a lot of that today, and you'll see a lot of that in the race. A lot of track limits penalties are definitely going to be had today. Championship leader Clemo's still in the pits for now, so that's a little bit worrying for him, as Lou Siemens has invalidated again. Cheltenham coming into the pits just ahead. Who is actually on a lap that we can follow. I suppose Vasso is, but no, actually not anymore. He's invalidated. What about Lewis Jones? Also invalidated. So they're both going to be coming into the pits. Aces goes to P5 in his Alpine. Meanwhile, as no one really challenging. Zoxia is also invalidated. Robin Brain coming through the last few corners, and his teammate Speed just behind him, I believe. Speed just came through and somehow doesn't invalidate, but actually he does. So the game took a split second to invalidate him there around that corner, but invalidate is exactly what he did. Robin Brain going to have another go as well, and well, that is a lot of invalidations to start off this session. Goodness me. Reshka coming through. Just one corner to go for the British driver. We'll see what he can do as well. Gets on the power on the exit. Nicely done from Reshka. Where's he going to be on the timing sheets, though? It is going to be P5, half a second down on J. Cole's time for now. Where's Zoxyrus? He's coming down to start his next run, but he's not got any ERS left, so this isn't going to be a fully representative lap time. So we'll ride on board with Robin Brain instead. Hello to Hamza in the chat. Wi-Fi good enough to watch your stream, but too shit to play the game. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Hamza. That sucks. But good to have you with us anyway in the stream. Robin Brain then coming through 57.3 in the middle sector. See what he can do as he heads through these last corners. Does he validate at this left-hander? Very easy to do. He's flat through it, but he gets it right this time. And down towards the final corner comes the Red Bull driver. Or wide of the apex though, I think. A little lock of the fronts as he went in. DRS open to the line. It's a 21.6. And he gets his way into P3. But these times are going to come down a heck of a lot when those NLR guys manage to set laps, as well as Finley, who is on a lap at the moment. Just started one in his McLaren, so keep an eye on him, because he, I'm sure, has a lot left in the tank compared to the others at the moment. He is extremely fast at this circuit. Trust me, I know. I lost a few races to him earlier this year at this circuit. So, yes, I expect him to be right up there today. 29.9 in Sector 1 is ridiculously fast compared to the others that I've seen so far. Have I seen pre-season testing, asks Hamza in the chat. I've been loosely following along with it, but I don't tend to follow pre-season testing that much unless there's some drama, because it's not really very representative of what we're actually going to see when qualifying comes up. So, yeah, but I have been loosely paying attention. Finley then coming to the last few corners. See what the McLaren driver can do. How much is he going to take pole by? No invalidation for him as he heads to the final corner. There you go. You can see him cutting across that apex like I said he would. Through the final corner and to the line. A 20.9 from Finley. Half a second quicker than anyone else at the moment. But I still think that there's going to be much faster times coming than that in this session. I watched just to see Lewis in red. That is very understandable, Hamza. We're all still getting used to it, I think. Trugster then through the final corner in his McLaren. He is Finley's teammate for today, and he comes across the line for P7. Kevin goes to P2 in the meantime, just about beating out J. Cole for that front row spot for now. But plenty more laps to come, including this man, Lou Simeons, through the final corner. He comes in his Ferrari. What's it going to be for Lou Simeons? Uses every last drop of that ERS to the line, and a 21.9 puts him in 8 for now. The drivers starting their next runs. Lewis Jones is invalidated again as Stephen Basso is just behind. Excuse me, on an outlap. Jack Alaco invalidates as well. A lot of drivers really struggling to get times on the board today. Who else on the lap? J. Cole. He was sitting in pole for quite a long time this race. No longer. He heads through the double right-hander. Nicely done from J. Cole to the sector line. He's 2.5 tenths up. Wow. J. Cole could be a bit of a challenger for the top of the leaderboard at the moment. Certainly challenger to Kevin, who is currently not improving. He has invalidated that attempt. Scott coming through as well. I think, is it Jacko next across the line? No, that's Reshka I can see on the mini-map. So it's going to be the Aston Martin of Kevin coming into the pits. And then it will be the Alpine of Aces versus Kings, who is 3.5 tenths up on his time. He comes through the last couple of corners now. Nicely done from Aces. He's not got a lot of ERS left, so that is going to hurt him down that straight towards that final corner. It's also going to hurt him down to the line, but only a little bit. He's got plenty left to deploy, and he goes into P7. Big improvement for Aces, 21.7. J. Cole, no improvement. He invalidated in the end, but he was 3 tenths up, so he'll be disappointed with that. Chowder goes to P2, though. Big improvement for the Italian and the cockpit cam champion in ESRL. There's a Sauber coming to the line. That is much more like it. That's what I expected from the front front runners today. A low 1 minute 20. 20.2 from Stephen Vasso, and don't be surprised to see it get faster. Clemo goes into the second row. He is the championship leader, don't forget. He really needs to minimise the damage in points to Finley today. We're really in the business end of this championship now. Just 4 rounds to go after this one, and Clemo's seen his championship lead start to dwindle over the last few rounds. So he's just been pushed to P5 by Johnny Stokes, who took pole position in Monaco last week, which, I mean, what an accolade that is in a league like this. That's the Season 6 champion currently on the second row, just 6 thousandths behind his fellow champion on this grid, Chalder. The reigning Division 1 champion of this particular division, not on the grid this season. That is TF Mar 10. He has won 2 Division 1 titles in ESRL, including last season's, but he is not present this season, sadly. So we will have, we won't have consecutive champions, that's for sure, but we'll see if we have a new champion in Clemo or Finley, who look the most likely to take the title this season, those two. That Red Bull's very lucky that Clemo was not on a lap, because otherwise he'd be in quite a bit of trouble for blocking there, I imagine. Eisenborg spins it nearly into the pits, but just about gets in with no issues. Zoxirus round the final corner, the German driver, setting his first lap of the day. It's going to be a 21.8. He's a long, long way down, is Zoxirus. He won't be particularly happy with that. It's very close in the midfield. Incredibly close even, so that's going to be very interesting to watch when the race occurs. Don't forget we've got Luca Rapassa worming his way through the grid as well, as he elects to just humiliate everyone instead of actually qualifying. Trugster coming down towards turn 1 to start his next run. We've also got Mahmood on a lap, I believe. No, he's invalidated, so we'll stay on board with Trugster. Hello to Callum Greenwood in the chat. That is ZTX Primeval from APPF1 Tier 2, for those who are not aware. It was such a great race in Tier 2 around here. It certainly was. Tier 1 was pretty good as well, yeah. Good evening, mate. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Speed. Congrats on the victory in APP earlier. Thank you very much. Yes, we had a race in Singapore in APP earlier, and managed to take the win. So got the championship lead there now, which I'm very happy with. In good form at the moment, so I'm quite pleased with how I'm doing on track. But it's all about ESRL here, because don't forget, these both championships in ESRL this season on a knife edge, as Trugster comes through the last few corners. Not got a lot of ERS left, but he'll deploy every last drop out of the final corner and down to the line. This is looking pretty good from Trugster, you know. DRS open, he comes down to the line. It's a 21.6, not bad at all from Trugster. He goes into 8th place. What did I miss, says Hamza. Finley binned it, mate. That's what happened in Singapore about an hour ago. Yeah, he binned it. So I managed to take the win, which is very nice. Very welcome. Lou Simeons, though, starting a lap in his Ferrari, currently down in 16th. Pretty much the last of the drivers that are on the pace, because Eisenborg is quite a way behind. Lewis Jones seems like he's also electing to just humiliate everyone and start from the back instead of actually qualifying, which, even though Scott has been very clear he wants them not to do that, but hey, they're esports drivers. I guess they do what they want. Oh well, not esports drivers, but near enough. Lou Simeon's coming through, not improving at the moment, but Sector 2 coming up. He's in non-ERS mode though, so I think he's going to try again on this run. So we'll stay on board with the Alpines instead. Aces versus Kings, a 10.5 up in the first sector. He needs a little bit more than that if he wants to get himself into the top 10, but he's backed out of this one by the looks of things. Yeah, he certainly has. So we'll ride with Scott instead. as he comes through just behind. Oh my goodness, so close to invalidating there at turn 6, or turn 5 rather, but he is a tenth and a half down, so doesn't look like we're going to see an improvement from Scott. We're certainly not now. Half spin there through turn 7, and that is going to be the end of that lap for the Alpine driver. J. Cole also on a run. Remember, he was big time improving on his last attempt before he invalidated. Through he goes, and again, he's 3 tenths up in Sector 1 this time. It was only 2.5 last time. Could J. Cole be challenging for the front row today, I wonder? He's had a history so far this season since joining ESRL of getting decent qualifying positions and then not having good races. So he'll be hoping for that to change today. But his race pace certainly seems to need work at the moment. 4 tenths up now through Sector 2, and he could be on for a shot at the front row if he can gain a few more tenths in this final sector. Shifts down a gear for the penultimate corner, and down the gears he goes for the final corner again, a little wide of the apex, but uses all the track on the exit, and uses all his ERS down to the line. It's not quite enough to beat Finley, but it is enough for 3rd place, so he'll be decently happy with that. But everyone else on their final runs right now, including Lewis Jones, he has gone out on track. Chowder invalidates at turn 5 as he was a 10th up as well. He'll be so disappointed with that. Johnny Stokes into the pits, no improvement for him. What about the championship leader? He is 3 tenths up. This is what he needs. He needs to be as close to Finley as possible, but he needs to nail the rest of this lap now. He's coming through the middle sector, plenty of others on laps too, but I'm going to ride on board with Clemo because it's very important where he ends up in this qualifying session. Qualifying really important around Qatar because of the nature of the circuit being such a DRS train a lot of the time. Half a second up. Could Clemo get himself on the front row here? Is Finley improving? No, he's invalidated. Speed goes to P6, but it's all about Clemo. Can he avoid invalidating here? Yes, he can. Just 1 corner to go. Lewis Jones goes to the front row, but what can the German Clemo do? As championship leader, he sees the Sauber going round just ahead. DRS open to the line. It is. Oh no, it's only a 21-0 in the end. He lost some time in that final sector. It's still enough for P5. He's only 2 positions away from Finley, but he would have hoped to be ahead. Zoxyrus not improving either. He's going to remain down in 16th. Huge, hugely disappointing qualifying for him. As Lou Simeons comes to the line, I don't think he's improving either. No, he's not. Half a second down, and that is your lot. That's qualifying. It's an NLR 1-2, as you might expect. But Finley up there in 3rd place as well. J. Cole, what a qualifying for him on the 2nd row. And Clemo right there in P5. Just a quick reminder of the championship standings. Let's see. So Clemo leads with 126 points, but Finley only 10 points behind him at this stage with 5 rounds to go, including this one. Stephen Vasso on 81 points. He's 45 behind Clemo. He's still in this, Stephen Vasso, very much so, but as long as he doesn't miss the rest of the races. Johnny Stokes then 9 points behind Stephen Vasso, and that's pretty much where the championship protagonists end up. It's pretty much those top 3, and at the moment it's the man in 3rd place in the standings who takes pole position alongside his NLR teammate. Finley is in P3 with J. Cole on the 2nd row with him. Then it's championship leader Clemo, just 2 places behind Finley, needs to minimise the damage today. Chowder in P6 after his invalidation at the end. Then it's Season 6 champion Johnny Stokes, Robin Brain, Speed Alcoholic, Kevin O'Reilly, round out the rest of the top 10, and the rest of the good we didn't have time to go through. The constructors rather interesting as well. McLaren on 180 points and Mercedes on 150. So Zoxyrus being so low is not going to help the Mercedes duo today. But at least both drivers are in. Finley does not have his regular teammate, and in ESRL does not count for the team. If you're a reserve, you don't count for constructors points. So Could be an opportunity for Mercedes here, but Zoxiris is going to have to get his way into the top 10. Here in ESRL, it is the regular F1 point system, for those of you unaware. So it's 25 to win, then 18, then 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1 for 10th place. And that is it. So we're going to have the formation lap now. Quick look at tyres while we're watching that formation lap. It is hard tyres for half the grid, mediums for the other half, pretty much. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, exactly half and half. 10 on mediums, 10 on hards. Very interesting. And it's the top 2 starting on mediums, which is a big surprise. I expected the fast guys to all start on hards, but not Vasso and Jones. Finley starting on the hards though. And it's J. Cole on mediums, Clemo, Chowder and Johnny Stokes all on hards. As well as Speed Alcoholic. And then Scott down towards the back. Zoxiris and then the bottom 3, including Luca Rapassa. Keep an eye on him. He will be charging his way up the grid. F1 game needs to follow direction F1 manager is going for. Yeah, I did see something about them making everything fully customizable, which is awesome. I love that so much. So it might even encourage me to get F1 manager. I've never actually played it because I heard it's not as good as Motorsport Manager, which was the OG Motorsport Manager game on PC, and I thought that game was fantastic. And I heard F1 Manager was not as good at it, so not as good as it. So I skipped it in the end. Why is Steven Vasso going so slowly? What the heck are they doing? Yeah, Finley's just gone ahead of them. I don't blame him. I don't know what these guys are doing. I'll tell you what. Whatever they're doing, Scott's not going to be happy with that. Scott is going to be ripping into them for that. There's no need for that. I don't understand why they've done that. But anyway, we will be starting off now. What is sure to be a thrilling race in Qatar. Keep an eye on Finley and Clemo in particular. Those are your championship protagonists. We'll see what Clemo can do from 5th on the grid. Also Luca Rapassa at the back. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights. And we're underway for the Qatar Grand Prix. Kevin O'Reilly's completely missed the lights and tumbles down the grid. But it's the top 2 Saubers who lead the way. Steven Vasso ahead of Lewis Jones. Finley under attack from J. Cole on the inside of turn 1. And then it's Clemo just lurking in the background. He's got Robin Brain for company 2, who hits the back of the Haas. Nowhere for the Red Bull to go. And he gets squeezed out of that one. Clemo stays in P5 as a result. But it's the 2 Saubers who lead the way. Then it's Finley, J. Cole and Clemo. Robin Brain up 2 positions. Reshka, oh my god, it turns 4 and 5 towards the midfield there. Goodness gracious me. 3 wide through the hairpin. Ace is very laggy. It's a 3-car pile up as they head through turn 6. I think Zoxiris involved in that as well. Disaster for all 3. Zoxiris had just about made some progress through the grid as well, but not anymore. He'll be desperately annoyed with that. Luca up 8 places. Reshka up 6. What a start for Reshka in the Williams. Up to P11 already. But Mahmoud up into the points as well. Kevin O'Reilly getting past Scott Izzy around the outside after his awful start, Kevin. He gets that place. Great move that is actually from the Irishman. And the top 2 now already breaking clear of Finley. But it's going to be all about these drivers here in terms of the championship. Finley and Clemo. Where can Clemo get to. Can he stay with the McLaren? That's the key, because we know Finley is incredibly fast at this circuit. Clearly not as fast as the NLR guys, but you know, that's that doesn't really mean much. As Johnny Stokes makes a lovely move on Chalder into turn 1. He gets up to P7, Chalder right behind him. And also, don't forget, the two Saubers are on the mediums, to be fair. So they should be extending that gap, and that is exactly what they're doing for now. Johnny a little bit wide there. Chalder a little bit slow through that corner. Speed Alcoholic up to P10, but Luca Rapassa down the inside. And he's going to make that move stick relatively easily. Speed down to P11 as a result, but he'll still be hoping for good points today. Chalder bins it. Chalder loses the rear, nearly takes out Mahmoud. That's so unlucky for the Aston Martin driver. Nothing he could do about that. He had to take avoiding action, but he lost a ton of positions as a result. We've got Eisenborg round in the background. Luca Rapassa losing a ton of positions. I don't know what's happened there, but Chalder is round as well in the background. There's a 3-second penalty already for Finley. Great news for Clemo, but J. Cole is struggling to stay with the McLaren driver at the moment. So Clemo's just got to minimise the damage here. He's got to stay within DRS range at least, but he's going to be under a big pressure from Robin Brain now. I'm going to switch to tyres so we can have that context on the left-hand side of the screen. Here comes Robin Brain. Clemo goes to defend, though, on the inside. Robin Brain sends it up the inside, makes the move stick by the looks of things, but it's going to be inside line for Clemo for turn 2. Can he keep that position? I don't think so. Robin Brain sweeps around the outside. It's a lovely move from the Red Bull driver, and he's up to P5, and it's just in time as well, as we've got a virtual safety car. Chalder is out of the race. I think he just retired in the pits. Sadly, Eisenborg into the pits as well. Trugster also in. Early stops for the both of them under this VSC, taking full advantage of that. So meanwhile, Speed into the top 10 again. And then it's the two Williams just ahead of him. A big gap to the top 7 after that. But Clemo, he's just got to do his best to stay in this DRS train. He can't afford to lose DRS to Finley, really. Otherwise, he's going to be in danger of losing even more points. The championship lead has been chipped away at ever so slowly but surely in the last few rounds. Hoping to minimise that today. Eisenborg and Trugster both early DNFs. That's why they came in. And everyone getting back up to speed. Looks like we're going to get green flags relatively soon. Robin Brain looking for perhaps a move on J. Cole. J. Cole's got that restart all wrong, and Robin Brain takes full advantage. Sends it down the inside. It's a lovely move again from the Red Bull driver. Clemo's trying to follow him through, but he can't quite get the switchback through turn 2. And look at the gap to Finley. 1.7 seconds now, thanks to that. And Finley now will be looking to race off into the distance from these cars behind and try and secure P3 in this race. Luca Rapassa making more moves further back, but of course he is. He is most likely going to at least get a podium in this race and probably win. So we'll do our best to try and monitor him as he makes his way through the grid, but also kind of ignore him because he's not really part of this race in essence. At the end of the day, of course, more very fast drivers taking points away from Finley is a good thing for Clemo. So he'll be happy to see this. I'm sure he'll let Luca Rapassa right through as soon as he gets within range. Don't think he's going to be too interested in fighting if he thinks that there's a chance that Rapassa can beat Finley here. Robin Brain under pressure from J. Cole. No DRS for that Red Bull. Clemo might follow through, but I think he's a little too far back for that. He is indeed. He just stays behind for now. So Robin Brain locks the rears into turn 1, but keeps P5 as J. Cole back into the top 4. He is hoping for a better race this time, J. Cole. He's decent in qualifying. He's shown that over the last few rounds that he's been a part of, but his race pace has left a lot to be desired a lot of the time, and certainly his consistency too. So definitely he's got a change to that in mind today. As he very nicely driving in P4 at the moment. Reshka and Jacko right with each other as they head through turn 7. No moves being made. Reshka staying ahead, and they're under pressure from Speed Alcoholic just behind. Luca Rapace has cleared all of them, and now heads off after the cars ahead. But Speed Alcoholic will be hoping for points today, and well, he's been very clear, he hates track limits on this circuit. He's not very good at them, he has shown that in APP. Yeah, I think his goal is just going to be top 10 finish today. And, well, that's a little bit of a mistake through the final corner that could leave him vulnerable to the Aston Martin of Mahmoud just behind, but there's no ERS on your wagon for Mahmoud as Clemo makes a move meanwhile on Robin Brain up into the top 5 once again for the championship leader. And J. Cole will be next on his list. Only lap 6 so far in this race, long way to go of course. Reshka and Jacko continue to follow through. We are quickly splitting this race into a few distinct groups now. We've got the group headed by Reshka at the moment. Then we've got the group further back headed by Kevin. The group further ahead headed by J. Cole right now. And then the top 3 in a bit of a league of their own for now. Although Finley is not pulling away from J. Cole quite as quickly as I thought he might. So it is still very much game on, especially with that penalty, but I'm sure there will be more penalties dished out today for track limits. You know, Canada is still the OG track limits Grand Prix on the F1 games, but Qatar, since coming onto the calendar, is a close second. As Kevin O'Reilly unfortunately disconnecting. Hopefully he can find his way back in, but he is down to 15th place as a result now. Here comes Clemo, not quite close enough to make a move on this occasion, but he is continuing to put the Haas under pressure. I don't know if he's going to want to make the move in particular, really, anyway, because he wants to have the security of that DRS. He knows he can't catch Finley on his own, so why not just stick behind? Stay where he is. Rapace with a time penalty as he chases after the rest of the grid. I shouldn't imagine it would matter too much. This group continuing to follow each other along. Speed Alcoholic as well in this group, still being hounded by Mahmoud and having to stay behind these two Williams. He's going to get sick of the sight of that Kraken sponsorship on the rear wing before long, but Reshka next to get a penalty. He loses the rear slightly on the exit of that left-hander. And could be vulnerable to speed now. Lou Simeons has binned it meanwhile. He's lost the rear, out that last corner in Sector 2. I told you in qualifying it was a tricky one to get on the power for, and Lou Simeons proving it there. Here comes Clemo. He has indeed made the move. Not sure he would have wanted to, but he is up to P4 now. And perhaps him and J. Cole now going to keep swapping positions if they can, as Jack Alacco loses 2 positions in one straight. Or does he? He's got the outside line on Speed through turn 1. It's going to be the inside for turn 2. Can Speed sweep all the way around with his traction? No, he can't. Jacko's still there. They still go side by side. They're on different tyre sets, remember, and Jack Alacco stays ahead. Great little battle there for P10 as Robin Brain and Johnny Stokes having a battle too through the hairpin just ahead, and it's Johnny Stokes who is into P6 as a result of that after Lou Simeons DNFs in the pit lane, sadly. So we're gonna have a lot of this race. There will be a lot of DRS trains. So it's going to be the pit stops where things really start to come alive, because there will be some undercut attempts, and I'm sure some of them will be successful, and we'll get a lot more jeopardy in this race after those undercut attempts start coming in. J. Cole not close enough to overtake Clemo on this occasion. Perhaps those mediums starting to fall away from the drivers who started on them. Clemo only 3.6 behind his main championship rival now. And Finley with that penalty. If we get a safety car at any point, rare in Qatar, but it can happen, then Clemo will close right back up to that McLaren. And that 3 seconds is suddenly going to be a lot more important, as Rapasa making another what seems to be now a trademark move down the inside of the hairpin, and now his teammate Johnny Stokes is next up. Luca just with the far superior grip or throttle control on the exit, and he is up to P6 now, albeit with that penalty. And, I'm sure he will be up to 4th place and charging after Finley before long. I don't think Clemo's going to fight him particularly hard at this stage as he goes. He is likely going to be costing Finley more points. Final corner, Tsusawa swapping again further ahead. Luca on the inside. That's going to be an easy pass for Rapasa once again, up to 5th place. And next is Clemo, who I doubt will fight this too hard. Probably be another move into the hairpin from Rapasa, I imagine. As the two Williams swapping places further back. Jacko just ahead of Reshka now, with a planned swap between the teammates as they continue to work together to keep those cars behind them. And Luca, in fact, making that move before the hairpin this time, and is up to P4. Clemo will be hoping to at least stay within 1 second for one lap so that he can get the DRS, but I think that might be a step too far, unfortunately for our championship leader. Kevin and Aces having a battle, or well, the AI of Kevin, I should say, so not really a battle to be watching. They're doing a good job so far, though. He stayed with Rapasa on this occasion. He stayed within a second. He won't be this time next lap. I can pretty much assure you of that. But as long as he gets the DRS this lap, he will have gained a little bit of an advantage on Finley. That's all he'll be after. Through the last couple of corners, and it is going to be DRS for Clemo down towards turn. Fastest lap as well for Rapasa as Johnny Stokes down the inside of J. Cole into turn 1. It's looking like a good move from the Season 6 champion. He's made it stick. Those mediums really starting to struggle now as the hards get into gear. Clemo 1.1 ahead of Johnny Stokes actually as a result of that little battle. See if Clemo can stay out of DRS range of the VCARB driver. That would be huge for his race if he can do that. But I think Johnny using some ERS to get back in that range for now. Remember, Johnny Stokes no slouch as J. Cole loses another place. This time, or well, he nearly lost another place. Robin Brain, I think, went for one of Rapasa's moves, a dive bomb up the inside of the hairpin. Didn't quite work on this occasion, though. And Clemo actually is staying with Luca Rapasa for now. He's still in the DRS. He's using some ERS to do it, but Luca isn't exactly overflowing with ERS at the moment. Clemo has just got a lot of pace right now. And, well, he's using Rapasa to drag him towards Finley at this point. 8.5 tenths is close enough for DRS once again. I don't think Johnny Stokes was close enough, though. We'll see if that rear wing... No, nothing for Johnny Stokes. But Clemo does have that DRS, and he's going to gain a ton of time down the straight. J. Cole in for an early stop. Here's the undercut that we're talking about. He's felt those medium tyres are well past their best, and it's time to come into the pits. Jacko and Mahmoud agreeing with him on this lap. And I expect more pit stops will be to come shortly to react to that. I don't think Clemo's going to stay with Luca Rapasso on this lap, though. He's a little too far behind this time. But he has used him to a significant advantage. He's gained quite a bit of time on Johnny Stokes behind, and I'm sure he's gained a little bit on Findlay as well as a result. So it's far from over, this battle for well, I don't know what position it's going to be, probably P3 between the two, although Vasso and Jones are going to be on the hard tyres in the second stint. Those mediums so much better in the second stint than the hards. So we shall see. We shall see. Could be a battle for a lot more than third or fourth place here, as Clemo has indeed lost that DRS advantage. It's 1.1 behind Luca Rapasso on this lap, and so no rear wing opening on this occasion. Johnny Stokes next to get a track limits penalty. There'll be plenty more of those. Robin Brain, oh my goodness. I think that is definitely a wake-up call to come into the pits for the Red Bull driver. That was nearly race over for him, as he lost the rear at the final corner, and he quickly decided, I should probably come into the pits for fresh tyres after that. J. Cole coming through the final corner. Where's he going to be in relation to the Red Bull? That's the question. How well has this undercut gone for the Haas driver? He's coming down towards turn 1 now. Keep an eye on the right-hand side of your screen. Where is the V-carb? He's just coming out of the pits. There he is, just ahead of J. Cole. And J. Cole's going to have the better grip on the exit of turn 1, but he's just going to have to stay with the Red Bull on this occasion. And I'm actually surprised that Robin Brain's come out ahead of him there. Must have been probably a mistake from J. Cole at some point. And, Kevin the Ghost getting passed by all the real-life drivers in this lobby at the moment. It's a shame that he disconnected. He had a very good qualifying, and he was looking decent in the race. Who's that spun? I think that's Aces. It is indeed at the final corner. He's done what Robin did, and into the pits he goes. Meanwhile, that is Lewis Jones into the pits from the lead. Aces retires, becomes our 5th retirement of the Grand Prix. But Lewis Jones into the pits for a set of the hard tyres to the end. There's the pit box that he's looking for. There go the hard tyres. So, big outlap for Lewis Jones. I imagine the hard runners won't be long for coming into the pits either, as Findlay's starting to catch up to Stephen Vasso now. Those mediums really falling off a cliff at this stage. Lewis Jones exits in P9. It's not clean air though. He's got Zoximus and Scott ahead, whom he has to clear. Neither of whom have stopped yet either. J. Cole and Robin Brain having a bit of a battle. Robin Brain with a penalty for track limits as on entry to turn 1. Must have just gone a little bit too far wide as he was trying to get the best exit possible. And unfortunately falling foul of the white lines. Clemo now 3 seconds behind Luca Rapasso and 5.5 behind Findlay. It's not good news for the German. He could be losing more points to his main championship rival today. Stephen Vasso's going to be in this lap, I'm sure. He's losing so much time on those medium tyres. They are fully gone. In he comes for the hards to the end of this race. And Findlay is going to lead this Grand Prix now. And that is going to be a time penalty for Lewis Jones as well for track limits, as he's really stuck behind Scott here. He goes for it on the inside of the penultimate corner. Scott nearly forced wide. He won't be too happy about that, but Lewis Jones, I think, just about made that work from my perspective. Is he going to get DRS? No, he's not. So maybe a mistake from Lewis Jones, although he was going to lose a lot of time to Scott through that corner if he didn't make that move. So yeah, it's tough to say, but Stephen Vasso's come out just ahead of him, so it's worked out all right in the end for them both. But they do have Zoximus to contend with here. They've got to get past this Mercedes. Zoximus is going to try and hold them up as much as possible, I assume, for the sake of his teammate. Speed Alcoholic just ahead as well. Here comes Stephen Vasso down towards the hairpin. Surely an easy dive bomb to the inside. There he goes. He braked a little early, in fact, but decided to go for it. And Lewis Jones nearly taken out in the background there. Zoximus lost the rear on exit. and somehow they both haven't ended up in the wall there. No idea how, but very, very close to disaster between the two of them. Lewis Jones now should be able to make this move. He's using overtake. He wants to get this done in the triple right-hander. It's very risky to go for it. He looks to the inside, but he backs out. He knows he was not close enough to the back of that Mercedes. He's going to lose quite a bit of time here through these corners. And Steven Vasso just ahead. He's got Speed Alcoholic ahead of him. So Lewis Jones now, we should be able to get this done on the run to turn 1. Look at this turn in. It's going to be so much better than Zoxyrus. And DRS is going to be enabled. Easy move for Lewis Jones down the inside. Easy move for his teammate as well. Steven Vasso into 4th place. That is a net P1. Well, it already was a net P1, but yeah, he'll be happy to be clear of the slower drivers. Lewis Jones still got speed to clear for now. He'll be hoping to stay with his teammate because it's up to 9.5 tenths now between them. And speed is going to be slowing Lewis Jones down here. He's got to make this move into the hairpin, you'd think, but he's too far behind. Speed is just a little too fast through turn 5 for the Sauber driver, and Lewis Jones now more than a second behind his teammate. He knows it's now or never. He pulls to the inside of turn 7, an unusual overtaking area. He's made it work. Speed lets him go, and Lewis Jones now 1.4 behind his teammate, and with a track limits penalty, it's looking good for Steven Vasso right now, as Finley has been caught by Luca Rapassa now in the DRS range. Is the VCARB driver. And there goes that rear wing. So on they go. It is going to be mediums to the end for these guys, remember. As Clemo comes in, an early stop. I think he's trying to go for the undercut. He wants the best chance possible of taking some points off Finley in this race. He doesn't want to lose too much of that championship lead. As Lewis Jones setting the fastest lap. There go the two Sauber drivers well in front of Clemo. But it's really going to be Johnny Stokes that we're watching here. Johnny down towards turn 1. He pitted 2 laps ago. It was a huge undercut, and he's nearly going to clear Clemo. I think he is. He has cleared Clemo, Johnny Stokes. He was well over 2 seconds behind when they pitted. It's a huge undercut from Johnny, but he is going to have terrible tyres towards the last few laps of this Grand Prix that he's going to have to contend with. Clemo will be frustrated to come out just behind him, although he will have the DRS, so maybe not such a bad thing after all for the championship leader this. J. Cole 1.9 behind, so he's well out of this. On those hard tyres as well, they're going to be much slower in the second stint. As Steven Vasso and Lewis Jones have gone back with each other once again. DRS will be exchanged once more between the two. Speed alcohol at 2.2 behind now as Luca Rapassa finally takes the lead of this race from Finley down towards turn 1. And not much McLaren can do about it, and it's another penalty to Finley as well. 6 seconds of penalties to the McLaren. Clemo won't know it yet, but he'll realise as soon as Finley comes in. Lewis Jones sets the fastest lap as Clemo chases after Zoxyrus now. He's going to have this DRS down to turn 1, but he's just having to stick behind the VCARB driver for now. I don't think he's close enough for a move. Oh, he looks to the inside. He goes for it. In fact, he is close enough. And Johnny Stokes can do nothing but let him go. It's a late move from Clemo. I don't know even if he even wanted to do it. But he does get the place. He's up to P6. He'll be hoping this undercut works out for him on Finley. He just needs to be within 6 seconds of that McLaren. But Finley now is going to be getting DRS from Luca Rapassa. So he is going to have a distinct advantage at this stage of the race. Even with Luca Rapassa in the lobby. Steven Vasso and Lewis Jones 18.5 behind those two meanwhile. They have they have pitted a few laps ago, of course, onto those hard tyres, started on the mediums. They went for the unoptimal strategy, perhaps on purpose to make it interesting, but I'm not sure. But they do head towards turn 1 on those tyres. It's another fastest lap for Steven Vasso. as he charges after those top two. Speed is meanwhile into the pits as well, as Clemo gets out of the final corner, 8 tenths ahead of Johnny Stokes, and sets the fastest lap in the process. There we go. Clemo means business now as they head towards turn 1. Speed onto those medium tyres to the end. Scott gets himself a penalty towards the back as well. Jack Alacco at the moment the last driver in the points, but that could very well change, and does. Speed Alcoholic comes out the pits well behind them, behind even Zoxyrus, as the two Williams swap places once again. Well, I mean, this is very similar to Japan, this little battle here. The two Williams and Mahmood. It was exactly this scenario, and the Williams had penalties and Mahmood didn't, and he managed to beat both of them on the run to the line as a result. So Mahmood will be hoping for a repeat of that, but they do have Zoxyrus and Speed chasing after them on those fresh mediums. That is going to be difficult to deal with for these three. But still, the last few points on offer between them. Luca Rapace and Finley finally into the pits, so Stephen Vasso is going to retake the lead of this race. Clemo coming through the last couple of corners now. Stephen Vasso to the line. Is it another fastest lap? Not this time, but they are out well ahead of Luca and Finley, but of course it's going to be fresh medium tyres for these two. There's Clemo in the background, you can see just in the top right of your screen coming down the straight, and he is not far behind at all, but he's going to have much worse tyres at the end of this race. Those 3 laps may not sound like much, but trust me, around this circuit they are going to be a lot worse in the last few laps than Finley's tyres. So still plenty of opportunity for Finley here, despite that 6-second penalty to his name. Clemo's still with nothing on his record in terms of track limits penalties, but 2.6 seconds. He needs to keep that below 6, and he will manage to actually gain points on Finley in this race. But that, I think, is going to be a very tall order for the German. Meanwhile, Zoxyrus has caught up to these hard tyre runners on those mediums. He's looking to the outside of Reshka at turn 7. What a move this would be, and he just sweeps around so much more grip for the Mercedes driver, and he's up to 10th place. Jack Lacko next one is this. It's another penalty for Finley, and that could be even better news for Clemo. Let's look at penalties on the screen. 9 seconds for Finley, nothing for Clemo still, as the two Saubers swap again, but Luca is going to be charging them down, and they all have 3-second penalties now, so this race well and truly on. But Finley with 9 seconds. Clemo, he has to keep this clean, but he has to try and stay with Finley as well. It is now very much not impossible for him to stay in range. I think 6 seconds was going to be a step too far. I still think 9 seconds is going to be too much for him, but it's going to be a lot closer as Zoxyrus goes up into 9th place. Passes both Williams to get up into that position, but Mahmood still sticking with them, still with no penalties, and here's Speed as well on those fresh medium tyres. Still no penalties to his name either, so Speed definitely going to be looking for a possible 9th place finish in this race. Maybe even 8th if they can catch up to Robin Brain. And look at this, he's right behind that Aston Martin. Mahmood goes very deep into the hairpin, and Speed gets the exit he needs, but is surely going to be able to sweep around the outside here. Mahmood just brakes early, lets the Red Bull go. No point in fighting, he says. And he just wants to stay with those Williams to try and get the places off them, but he could be in a bit of trouble. He might not secure points in this race after all if those medium tyre runners start running away from him. So fastest lap for Luca Rapace as he charges down those Saubers. That was 1.5 seconds he gained on that lap, so he will be with them very shortly indeed. It's a penalty for Jack Alacco. Clemo loses about 6-7 tenths that lap, I think it was. This is going to be really close, you know. 8 laps to go. And, well, I think that gap is going to start going up even more once Clemo's tyres start wearing away. But if Finley gets another penalty, this will definitely be very close. I think 9 seconds, he should still be able to gap Clemo by that much, I think, before the end. But, yeah, he's not made it easy on himself, Finley. He certainly hasn't. Johnny Stokes with 6 seconds as well. J. Cole only 7 seconds behind. With no penalties for him. He's done well there, has J. Cole. He might be able to secure P6 out of this one. Meanwhile, Speed Alcoholic now. He's got the 2 Williams to clear. Next up, Zoxerus already 2.5 seconds up the road. Speed not willing to make a risky move. Zoxerus was. Remember, Zoxerus. And there is the 3 seconds. There is the 12 seconds, in fact, for Finley. Huge in the context of the race. Clemo now has a really good shot at taking that 4th place away from his main championship rival, extending the gap to 12 points. But he's got to keep the speed up, and he's got to avoid getting penalties of his own. Speed went into the back of Reshka there through the flat-out right-hander. Zoxerus now with another penalty. Jackalacco as well with 6 seconds too, just ahead. Here comes Speed. He's surely going to make this move down to turn 1 now, but he's not got a lot of DRS left, so he might not after all. Reshka's got a little bit more in the tank. He's got the DRS from his teammate. Speed's going to be just behind. He's going to look to the inside. Is he going to send it? The South African, he is indeed. Reshka doesn't quite have the same grip as the Red Bull. Speed round the outside of turn 2. Can he make this work? Yes, he can. Great move from Speed Alcoholic up to 11th place. And Zoxerus 3.5 seconds up the road now, so Speed really needs to get a move on here if he wants P9 out of this. And he certainly is going to want that. Mahmoud in the background too. He is very much on course to beat these 2 Williams, but is he on course for much better than that? I don't think so. He might be just about forced out the points today for P11, unfortunately for him, as it stands. But who knows? Still plenty of time to go in this race. 23 laps completed, as we've got 6 left to go. Clemo 6.3 seconds behind Finley. He needs to avoid losing a second per lap on the McLaren driver, and he will be able to take 4th place, but that is going to be tricky. It really is. 6 laps to go, and Clemo is going to have to push hard here, but he's got to avoid penalties of his own as well. Speed Alcoholic finally getting that move done. Meanwhile, on the Williams driver, Mahmoud in the background trying to get one on Reshka as well. Reshka into the back of his teammate, and he's forced to let Mahmoud through after that mistake. And the Aston Martin driver up into 12th place. Malacco will be his next target, but after that, he's going to have to hope that Zoxerus drops off towards the end of his stint. This could be a good haul for Mercedes here. If Zoxerus can finish in the points, he'll get an extra point, and that is 15 seconds for Finley. That is surely game over for 4th place. He is collecting penalties like infinity stones at the moment. We've got an Aston Martin just ahead who's going to give him DRS, so that's huge actually. The stricken AI car of Kevin O'Reilly giving Finley that DRS down towards turn 1, but Clemo might be able to get the DRS off that lap car too in a few laps time. 5 laps to go. Finley is 7.5 ahead of Clemo, but with 15 seconds worth of penalties. This is going to be really close, I think. I think 12 seconds still it was advantage Finley, but now it really is close. I think it's advantage Clemo now, but who knows what the pace is going to be in these last few laps. Zoxerus making the move on Robin Brain in the meantime. Speed Alcoholic might get P8 out of this even, as Mahmoud gets his way past Jacko in the background there, up to 11th place on track. And it's not over for Mahmoud at all, actually. He still might get points out of this one. He's over 3 seconds behind Robin Brain, but he's certainly within 6 of Zoxerus, so this is going to be close for those last few points. And, well, Zoxerus will be hoping to salvage something else for Mercedes in this race, because Finley now with 18 seconds. Oh my goodness me, what is happening to Finley? It's definitely advantage Clemo now for that position. But he just cannot stay within the track limits. Meanwhile, we've got a battle for the lead going on. Lewis Jones and Stephen Vasso side by side with Luca Rapasso alongside them. Oh, there's contact between the Saubers. They slow down Luca as well. And well, if Finley gets involved in this battle, that could be big news for him in terms of getting the DRS from Camo, but with only 3.5 laps left to go, surely 18 seconds is too much for even him to get advantage of the two Saubers side by side through the two right-handers. Luca Rapassa just behind. He goes for the outside line, does the V-carb driver for today, but he can't quite get the move done. The two Saubers on hards, remember. Luca Rapassa on the mediums. He looks to the inside of turn 7. But Steven Basso on the outside line. Luca gets the better grip on the exit. They're still side by side as they head through the middle sector. This could go horribly wrong as they head through. Still they go side by side. Finley's right with them now. And Luca trying to get both Saubers down towards the next few right-handers. There's contact. There's more contact. There's a lot of contact as Lewis Jones forces Rapassa off. Rapassa gets past by Finley. Perhaps Finley's in this battle now, but he's going to get slowed down too by all of these shenanigans. And it's going to be even worse for him. He could lose more positions. He might even lose out to J. Cole and Johnny Stokes as well at this rate. And he could lose a lot of points to Clamo in this race. Just 3 laps to go. Lewis Jones leads, but it's these top 4 right close together. Finley just behind Luca Rapassa, not willing to go for it. Steven Vasso is, though. He looks to the inside, gets another penalty of his own. This is not over. Clamo might even win this race the way this is going. They're all costing each other so much time. And Clamo, he might not be anywhere near the pace of any of these guys, but look how many penalties they all have. I know Luca got one from being forced off, but even so, Clamo, I don't think Luca's going to care too much about stewards' reports and getting it removed. He's not in this championship or anything. But they head through the next few corners. It's Steven Vass on the inside of Finley. Don't take each other out. Please don't take out a championship contender, guys. Finley is still very much in this title fight. But they continue on. They're still costing each other time. All these top 4. 2.5 laps left to go. Lewis Jones and Luca Rapassa side by side again through the triple right-hander. They're going to cost each other more time through here. Finley trying to go around the outside as well. He backs out of it just about. Steven Vasso in the mix. They're all in each other's gearboxes as they head through the final sector. This is incredible stuff. It's very much good viewing for Clemo. He's only 7.6 behind, 7.5 as he heads through the penultimate corner. DRS again for all of them on the penultimate lap of this race. Who is going to win? It still could be Clemo as Lewis Jones takes the lead. It's 3 wide further back. J. Cole finally gets himself a penalty further back. He'll be disappointed with that. But it's Finley who takes the lead now from Lewis Jones and Luca Rapassa through turns 1 and 2. Luca Rapassa on the inside of Jones, though, in towards turn 4. Oh, he sends it. He absolutely sends it. Forces Jones wide, and Finley is clear to go. Further ahead, there's a lock of the rears for Lewis Jones as he heads through the hairpin of turn 7, or turn 6 rather. Through turn 7 they go. Finley still in the lead. It's these top 4 right together. Clemo continues to catch them, but not by a lot. 7.1 seconds. He needs them to slow each other down a little bit more in the final lap, and he still might be able to win this race. What an incredible result that would be if that is what happens. But at the moment he's still only looking at P4. What is going to happen on this final lap? Who knows? Finley's going to lead going into turn 1, but the rest of them will have DRS. Luca Rapassa's got plenty of VRS. No one else does. So it's advantage Rapassa down towards turn 1 for the final time this race. Luca Rapassa's going to take an emphatic lead, but Finley's going to be just behind still. And they're going to head through Sector 2. Steven Vasso on the outside of Finley. He's not quite able to make a move. Clemo losing time on the DRS straight. They're not slowing each other down enough for the championship leader. He will still beat Finley as it stands, but he was very close to getting a lot more out of this race. Reshka gets another penalty further back. Mahmood is in position for points meanwhile. Robin Brain is 6 seconds of penalties for him. He's only 2 ahead of the Aston Martin. It's more contact further back between these guys. Could they slow each other down for Clement to get P2? Luca Rapassa is far and away now. He is going to win this race. Jack Alacco trying to slow down Mahmood, and he gets that place from the Aston Martin driver. Luca coming through the final sector. Finley just ahead of Vasso and Jones. Scott gives himself a penalty as well. Oh, the Sauber's going to go side by side again through the triple right. Oh my goodness, they nearly take out Finley. They're all losing so much time through the triple round. It's 3 wide through a flat out corner. It's so much contact between all 3 of them. Finley pushes them off the circuit, Lewis Jones. Stephen Vassell on the outside. Are they going to cost each other enough time for Clemo to get P2 here? They're all side by side. Lewis Jones is round at the final corner. Luca wins the race, but Finley and Stephen Vassell come across the line. Where's Clemo? He comes through the final corner. Has he got P2? Yes, he does. Oh my goodness me. An absolute daylight robbery from Clemo there to claim second place. And he is going to gain, how many points? I think 8 points on Finley in this race. He'll extend his championship lead to 18 going into the last 4 rounds. What a tenacious race from Clemo, our championship leader. It's Johnny Stokes in P6. J. Cole finishes a very handy P7. Speed Alcoholic in 8th. Zoxerus finishes in 9th. Gets a couple of points for Mercedes as well. And Mercedes will close the gap to McLaren in the Constructors after this race too. And I didn't see who got 10th, but I believe it was Mahmoud. I'll give my driver of the day in just a second. Let's have a look. It was Mahmoud. Well done to Mahmoud for getting that last point. No penalties to his name. What a great drive from him, the man from Bahrain. But it's Luca Rapasso who wins the race, of course, from Clemo in P2, the championship leader. He would not have expected that. But they all slowed each other down at the end, and he just took advantage. Then it's Vasso in 3rd place. Lewis Jones in 4th. Finley is not going to be happy with all of that. There was no reason for him to lose that many points to Clemo today, but that is what's happened. Johnny Stokes in P6. J. Cole in 7th place. Speed Alcoholic, no penalties. Very, very impressive. P8 for him. Zoxerus, 9th from 16th on the grid. Great race from the German too, to salvage a few points for his team. Then it's Mahmoud who gets the last point. No penalties for him either. Great stuff from those guys. And then it's Reshka, Jacko, Scott, and Kevin with aces. Lucimians, Eisenborg, Trugster, and Chalder DNFing from this race. Driver of the day. Oh, it's a toughie. It's a toughie. I don't know. I really don't know. There's an argument to give it to Clemo, of course. There's an argument for Speed and Mahmoud because they didn't get penalties. Yeah, last time Speed Alcoholic raced in Qatar, for context, everyone. Last time he raced here, 18 seconds of track limits penalties, much like Finley today. Today, nothing. And that is why Speed gets driver of the day for today. So great drive from him. Got 2nd place from pretty much the back of the grid in APP earlier in Singapore as well. So 2 great drives from Speed Alcoholic today, and deserving of driver of the day. So... yeah, and, well, 2 driver of the days, because he got driver of the day in APP too. So, congrats to Speed. Obviously, arguments for Zoxerus for coming from 16th on the grid to 9th. Mahmoud for also getting no penalties and finishing 10th. Argument for Clemo for obvious reasons, but I think Clemo more benefited from luck today. He did have good pace, and he did keep it together well, but I don't think he was driver of the day today. I think that accolade definitely has to go to one of the other drivers I mentioned, and it's going to go to Speed today just for the sheer improvement at this circuit. So there we have it. Thank you all ever so much for watching. We will be back next week for round number 9 of this 12 race championship. We are very close now to finishing off the ESRL for the year. Clemo is going to extend his championship lead to 18 points. And next week, we are heading to Mexico. Great circuit. I love Mexico this year. Really, really fun circuit. Excuse me, there are 3 rounds to go. I've been saying 4 rounds to go this whole time. There are 3 rounds to go because this is round 9, not 8. It's Mexico, Monza, and Brazil, the last 3 rounds. So keep an eye out for those. It's going to be, I think this championship might well go right down to the wire. But thank you all ever so much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week for more ESRL. Goodbye.